All right, everyone. Welcome today to our part two of our April Showers Bring Me Flowers class. Okay. So this is really exciting, and I should just clear up real quick because some of you asked in chat that this was listed as an extra class through your Zoom link. So what that means is we just call classes extra classes if they're outside of our normal lineup of classes, like meal solutions, produce spotlight, table talk, well-being connection, trending topics, and feature Friday, coffee chat. Those are our normal lineup. And then sometimes, depending on the month, we have extra classes so we can get up to that 20 class mark for you guys. So today is a part of those 20 classes. We just call it extra. And, I'm a little extra, so why would I not be teaching the class today, right? um, but anywho, we have a fun recipe ahead. But before we get to it, let's do a little bit of a recap because remember, this is part two. If you were hanging with me in April, we talked about this slide here about how April showers can bring May flowers. And what does that really mean? Because we found out last month that April is actually not the wettest month of the year for our viewing area. I showed for Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, and New Jersey. It's actually the summer months that are rainier for us, but it's likely that this phrase of April showers bring May flowers originated in the United Kingdom, where April really is a soggy month over there. Um, so the concept is though that all of that rain, all of that moisture from April with the combination of warming temperatures, here we are now in May, bring upon growth. And not only physically, but this can be symbolic for other things. So just to keep this in mind, I like to always reiterate this that, unpleasant things can lead to enjoyable and beautiful things. So just like the rain, maybe unpleasant at times, can bring on the sun, and that can hold true for a lot of things in life as well, as long as we have patience and endurance and optimism. Okay, so good stuff there. Now, when we did talk about this last month, this is the recipe that we made. We made blueberry puddle pies, which is one of my own little creations. If you missed this class, head to our YouTube channel and you can check it out there, the video for that. If you have any questions, you can certainly feel free to email us and we will get back to you. But these were the blueberry puddle pies. I'm curious if anybody did make them because they were delicious. And I'm not going to disclose to you guys how many pies I had that day or the next day, but there wasn't really a next day after that because they were gone. Um, so definitely make them if you haven't already. Okay. So now that the rain is gone, let's bring on the flowers. All right. Some fun facts. Like I said, I did this last month with the rain and what the rainiest month was. Here, I wanted to say, what are the state flowers? Okay. So if you are here in Pennsylvania, like myself, it is the mountain laurel. In Maryland, I thought this was cute. It's the black-eyed Susan, so that's super fun. In Virginia, it is the American dogwood. And you know what? I actually knew that one because isn't it the movie? I could be totally making this up, but isn't it the movie American President where like the president is dating that girl? What's her name? Sydney, maybe. And he wanted to buy her flowers, and she's from Virginia. So he looked it up and he wanted to get her a dogwood. And they were like, that's not a thing to do, but he like did it. Am I making this up? Maybe no one's responding in chat. I just remember that was one of those movies that was like always on USA or TBS back when we watched like cable. No, no one's feeling. You're just laughing at me. Okay, fair enough. Moving into West Virginia, a rhododendron. And then New Jersey isn't technically where we have our stores, but I know a lot of folks either live in New Jersey or travel there often from our classes. And it is a violet there. So cool stuff. All right. Now, speaking of New Jersey, I shared this with you guys last year. A tulip farm that my family and I went to in April when they had tulips, and then we went back in December when they had a huge Christmas special of tulip light. And we went back just 2 weeks ago, right after Easter. And here are some photos from that I thought that I would share, of the tulip farm that's in New Jersey. Such a fun place. I'd highly recommend. It's called Holland Ridge Farms. Check them out. I think that they actually just extended their tulip viewing season into this weekend. So check out their website, but so many photo opportunities there. As you can see, the tulips just go on and on, for rows and rows. And they have tons of different neat tulip varieties if you're into that. So here you can see these pretty like variegated colors of the yellow on the left. One of my favorites on the right here, these are called fringe tulips. I thought those were really neat, and you can then pick them and take them home. So I picked a couple bouquets worth. You can see they had the white fringe ones there in the middle of my bouquet too. But I think my favorite actually, and I didn't know this was a thing until this year, the flower in that bouquet that's on the right, that's like a pinkish red. It's actually called a peony tulip. So if you like peonies, you like tulips, this is a cross between the two, and it actually lasted the longest. Like it's still on my windowsill right now. It's about done. But I've had it for like almost 2 weeks now. So just cool stuff. If you're into flowers, if you're into tulips, it's definitely my thing. So wanted to share those pictures with you guys. I see somebody just mentioned about Hershey Gardens in chat. I was there on Easter, saw the tulips. Love the Hershey Gardens as well. Jenna and I have an ongoing battle of Hershey Gardens versus Longwood Gardens because she's a member there. I'm a member at Hershey. It's a whole thing. I've never been to Longwood. I'm sure it's beautiful, but it's just our little banter back and forth. But okay, such is life. Moving on to what we're really talking about today, and that is making tomato tulips. Okay, now this is a recipe that's from Savory, as you can see with the picture here. On the left, I have the links for both Giant and Martin's on the bottom right, but I'm going to change it a little bit, guys. Okay, so the actual Savory recipe ingredients here on the left is simply taking some cream cheese, mixing it with chives, and then putting it in the tomatoes, more chives for the stems of the flower. Well, little known secret about me, not only am I not a fan of avocados or yogurt, but I'm a little iffy about cream cheese as well. And I say that lightly because I love cream cheese on a bagel. Okay, I'm all for that. But like a hunk of cream cheese and something like sushi, or in this capacity of like stuffing something with cream cheese, that's not my cup of tea. So if it is yours, by all means, stuff these tomatoes with cream cheese and chives. Have at it. But we're gonna do something a little bit different today, and we're gonna put hummus in it. And I know hummus sounds like such a dietitian thing to do, but I am one, and I do like hummus. So that's what we're gonna go with today. But we're still gonna use obviously the tomatoes. I'm gonna use a couple different kinds, as well as chives and scallions. I've never done this before, so it's going to be a learning process together to see how this goes. But we're going to make it happen, okay? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. We're going to go over to the ingredients, make these tomato tulips. Then I'm going to bring my screen back up, and we're going to talk about the circular for the week because we have a really cool deal that would go well with these tomato tulips, okay? All right, so let me do that. Gonna stop sharing this and turn this off. And we're gonna bring this up over here. Ta-da! Yes, okay. And guys, I know you can't see it. It's so light, but I do have tulips on my nails, okay? You can see the green leaves, but not so much the tulips, but they're there. I know you guys are all about my nails as much as I am, right? Or at least I like to think so. here we go. Let's do this. So as you can see, I have some different shapes and sizes of tomatoes here. The recipe calls for plum tomatoes, which is what these are here. And I like the idea of these. I think they're a little big, which is fine. And this is all I was going to do until I stumbled upon these beautiful grape tomatoes on the vine. And I was like, oh, they look like tulips too, right? So it just kind of depends on what kind of bite you want to have. If you want to have a bigger tomato that you'll probably cut in half, or maybe these little guys you could put on a salad, I think would be lovely, which we'll chat more about here in a moment. If you're interested in those grape tomatoes on the vine, this is what they are here. They are called Sugar Bombs, Flavor Rocks, grape tomatoes on the vine, okay, from Sunset, which if you were on with me the other day, I talked about Sunset and their strawberries, which they were good. They tasted like I just went and picked strawberries out of my garden, like my non-existent one. Okay, so let's do this here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do this with a couple different ones, okay? So I'm gonna put where it would have been connected to the vine at the bottom because this is a bit more pointy at the top, like a tulip, right? My knife is slightly serrated here, okay? So that way it's a bit easier to cut through the skin of the tomato. So we're gonna go down, essentially make like a cross, okay? I'm gonna go down, maybe not quite halfway. All right, and then we'll go this way. We can cut further down if we need to. Like I said, I've never done this, but I figured it can't be that hard, right? Okay, so we pull it apart a little bit. We might need to cut it down a little further. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we just pull that apart. Now you can leave the insides in there if you want, or you could scrape some of that out. I am just going to pull this apart a little more, just gently. I don't think I need to cut it. All right, so let's see how easy it is to scrape it. If you're going to do all that cream cheese, you probably want to get this out. Oh, that's not hard, okay? Just to get a little bit of this flesh out on the inside. Okay, scoop some of that out there. And you could probably work at this for a while, but I mean, you can have all that good tomato-ness in there too. And pull that piece out. I think just getting a little out allows for whatever you're stuffing it with to kind of settle in there, okay? But yeah, that's not bad at all. Okay, I don't want to break my tulip though. There we go. Okay. This could be something to get the kids involved in. Mother's Day is coming up. So there we have it. Cool, fun, yeah. Put that there. Now, let's try one of these little guys. Oh, that came right off the vine like so. I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know how much hummus we'll actually be able to put in here. Oh, but we'll give it a go, okay? And that's okay. We don't necessarily have to put anything in. But yeah, there's that. Okay. Let's scrape some of that out because it seems like it wants to. Whoa, don't go down, Tulip. Tulip down. Okay. There we go. Oh, okay. I thought my leaf was coming off, but it wasn't. It was just the tomato stuff. All right. Perfect. Look at that little guy. Okay. All right. Let me wipe my hands off here a little bit. Okay. So now what are we putting in here? As promised, I have some hummus. This is our Taste of Inspirations pesto hummus. And I thought, why not use pesto? And then it's kind of like a caprese situation. You could put like a mozzarella ball in here with this pesto hummus. I'm gonna do something with these tiny tomatoes over here, but I thought the pesto, like that basil vibe, would go nicely with our tomato tulips. Now, what I was going to do, which now looking at this isn't what Savory does on the video if you watch it. From here, they just take a spoon and they kind of stuff it in there. I'm gonna, this is the extra class and I'm extra. So we're gonna pipe it in. I'm a little disappointed right now because I'm out of piping bags, which I don't know how that happened. But it's okay, just in case, like, you're in that boat that you don't really have piping bags on hand, we'll use a Ziploc bag. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of this hummus. I don't wanna, even though these pine nuts over here are lovely and delicious, I don't wanna get them into the piping bag because it could clog it up. Okay. So I'm just gonna take this actual hummus over here and we're gonna put it into our bag. Give me a second. All right, get it way down in the corner there. Let's do another scoop. Like I said, I find piping bags to be a lot easier. We do sell them in our stores, like in the baking section, and I usually have a ton on hand, but then when I'm out, I don't think of it and I don't realize it, and here we are using a Ziploc, but that's okay. Yes? All right. Scooch it on down to the corner, like so. Okay. Now, I'm just going to cut off this end here. That's right, Anna. Okay, I saw your comment there. Okay, let's cut this. Not a lot, because we don't want the bag to then like break. This is just going to allow this to go in here a little bit better without getting it all over the place. Okay, see how that just squeezes in there like so? Okay, and then we don't have it all out on our edges and coming out the sides, whatever it might be. You can put in there as much as you want. Okay, I like it. Looks good. Okay, now what am I going to do from here? These are these little sprinkled tomatoes that I've shown you guys before, okay? From Sunset. Again, Sunset is really, an all-star with produce here. Teeny tiny tomatoes. So I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to like just push it down in there like it is the center of the tulip. Have fun, okay? All right, get in there. The hummus is in there. Look at that. Cute? Yeah? All right. Once again, you could put a mozzarella ball in there and that could be fun. Now, let's pan over. Like I said, it's so much to show you guys. Over here. We'll just move it all. Okay. So over here, I have another cutting board that then you can display this. You can use chives. Here we have a green onion that all I did was cut off the bottom. I left this one here because they were connected and I thought, oh, that kind of looks like a leaf. And then you just lay it on there like so. We have a tulip. How fancy and fun is that? Okay. Here, see another one. Where's my knife? I've already washed these. I'm just cutting off the edge. I know you can't see what I'm doing right now. I apologize. Cutting off that edge. I'm going to cut off some of these edges here. And here, I'll move over so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see. I think I want this one to be where the actual tulip is. False. I wanted to go this. Yeah, we'll do this. Okay, just going to cut that off like that. I'm going to cut this down a little further there. Okay, and then we'll put this one here. And once I make another one, right, then we'll sit it right there like that. Okay, now you can do the same thing with these little ones. Let's go ahead. I feel like I've got a mess going on. Let's go ahead and see if we can put a little bit of hummus in this little tomato here. Open it up. Okay, just a scoop. Okay, kind of push that back in like so. And then I'm going to take one of these teeny tinies. I'm going to put it in there like that. How cute. Okay, and you wouldn't have to do that. You wouldn't have to do any of that if you didn't want. And then over here I have chives. Okay, and I'm going to make a different little presentation with these little ones, but you guys get the gist, okay, of how this is going. Yeah? Like that? Fun? Cool? Okay. Once again, really neat like conversation piece for the table, whether it be Mother's Day, just a spring get together, a nice little appetizer, really cute, or we could turn this into a meal, okay? I'm gonna reshare my screen in a minute, but back over here, you'll see soon in our circular, we have, it's not the meal deal for the week, but it is a meal type deal, okay? Where if we get all of these ingredients back here, which is a pre-steak, a dole salad kit, some fresh gourmet croutons, the cherub tomatoes, which you could get these instead of the sugar bomb tomatoes and make the little tulips with these, and a craft dressing. If you get all four of them, I believe you save $4. So we're gonna look at that in the circular in a moment, but you could then place these tulips on this salad that you're making, or you could make the salad and have this as like a side display to it. All right. Maybe the salad is the main course. This is the little decoration on the side. After class, I'll play around with that so you guys can see how that looks. But there we have it. Okay. At this point right now, I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording and then reshare my screen so we can pull up the circular for the week. Just stopping the recording since the circular only applies to this week. So, give me a minute here. Let's do this and here. Okay. Reshare my screen. Just a moment. Okay. Here we go. Share, and I'm going to stop our recording. Okay.